Hello, my lovelies. This episode is brought to you by Airbnb, of course. And if you are in need of New Year rejuvenation, remember to check out Guest Favorites, a collection of the most loved homes on Airbnb to find your next winter retreat. Now, let's start the show.
The transition to adulthood is very, very hard.
Yeah,
very hard
it is.
For any child actor. Everybody's always still going to see you as that little girl, no matter how old you are. You can be 30 years old and they be like,
we still call Rudy
I thought she was 12.
Yeah.
Like, please. But, I think for our Black girls, our three main leads that, for this show to be like their breakthrough, in a sense, for being seen. I can never talk about it without getting emotional.
My guest today is an actress, producer, and entrepreneur who has been breaking barriers from a young age. You probably know her from her role as Diane on the hit show Blackish, or as the youngest executive producer in Hollywood history for her film, Little. She's continuing to make waves with her production company, Genius Productions, and her latest project, Saturdays. Marsai Martin, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Girl, like I was saying, I feel like every time that I see you, I only get like 5 minutes here and there. This is our first time being, sitting down and getting into something.
Sitting down and talking, like, for real. No, I'm excited.
I mean, how have you been? Like I was saying, you're only 20 years old and you've already accomplished so much. I mean, how do you feel approaching all those different roles? Did it ever feel like too much or kind of like your birthright?
Oh, man. I think it's like my birthright, honestly. I think it's something that I just do for fun, just to have a good time. I always look at either like a script or just a certain project and I'm like, okay, like just let's try it out. Let's do it. I think like my parents always tell me like if it doesn't become fun for you anymore, we can move on to the next thing. And I think that's the beauty about just being young and being very experimental with the things that I do. And I think that's just always been the goal.
And having encouraging parents, because my parents used to say that same thing too, where if it ain't fun, then don't do it. And that kept kind of the pressure on. Even though you do feel a little bit pressure as a child entertainer,
it
helps to balance it. So how did you get into entertainment? And where are you from?
I'm from Dallas. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Yeah, little Texas, baby. But yeah, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I started modeling when I was like little, but I started acting when I was 5.
Okay.
And
Raven-Symoné.
Yeah.
Just super a little young.
Bit. Just a little bit. And of course it was like model work, like print and all of those things at first. And then it grew into something bigger. And then one day it was a lot. We took holiday photos for my grandparents back in Dallas, and the photographer was like, I will give you guys a discount if you take her to this acting class. So that was pretty much like the start of it for sure, which was Kathy Sullivan. And
hey, Kathy.
Yeah, that was the beginning. And I mean, we only did just a few sessions. And from there, I got my LA agent from back and forth from
Dallas.
Yeah, back and forth from Dallas.
So y'all never officially moved until maybe you got Blackish? Was that it?
It was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was like about a year or so before going into Blackish. And I remember my agent back then on CESD, Melissa Berger.
CSD, I always remember as a kid.
Oh, man.
That was the agent.
It's like,
that
is so nostalgic
the
now
kid
looking at
agency,
it.
CSD, you knew a kid was serious.
Yeah, you know a kid.
If they had that agent.
And voiceovers, tell me. You know a kid is in the studio working right now as we speak. Yes. So Melissa called my parents and was like, it would be just way better if you guys would come here, and meaning LA.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's a different energy from, just recording tapes versus when you're actually in the room. So then my parents sat me down. At this time, I'm probably like 8.
Okay.
And they're like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yes, And all the trust that they put in me when I was just that little is exceptional. And
it is.
From there, I mean, it was such a process. We moved to Huntington Beach first, which is still very far from LA.
And so different from Dallas. You went from no water to water, West Coast, super vibe.
Yeah, but both of my parents are from LA as well. So it's not like we didn't know like the space. My grandpa lived there at the time in Anaheim. So it was still very familiar. But obviously it was like auditions used to be in like the heart of LA. So we would be driving 2 hours like there and back.
No, for real.
And my dad was still working at the time. It was a lot. And it was always me and my mom doing auditions, and my dad would be was a car salesman.
Period. So cars. That's where you got the talent
him.
From. No.
Right, no, yeah.
That charisma.
Yeah, so I would see him. I would only see him like really at night. But my mom eventually was like, it's 10 toes down. Like we got like, so eventually
it's a family business.
Yeah, eventually he let go of his job, and we all really just put our best foot forward into anything that we did. And
that's right.
You know, fast forward to now, we have our production company, and of course we are co-workers in a sense.
Yep.
But now we just love to create. We love to create different things, whether it's just projects on TV and film, but also just things that build community outside of that, you know? So I think it's just been an amazing, amazing journey. And it's just,
I relate to so much of what you're saying. The way that I see, obviously I love entertaining, but the way that my family and I saw it, especially with all the sacrifices that you have to make in order to be in this business, we saw it as a family business.
Absolutely.
And we all knew the roles we had to play, even if it seemed odd or different to other people. Because when people are like, your parents ain't got no job, it's like, no, this is their job.
No, this is it.
Running my career.
Exactly.
This is, we're all in this together, hashtag High School Musical.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and you still see a lot of like child actors now that will go to these events, and I don't know if you've seen it, but like they'll go to these events without their parents, and they'll be there with their agent or their manager because they think that's how it's supposed to be. Right. But literally, everybody knows, like, and you see me, you see either my mom, and you see me, you see my dad, like. It's a thing, you know, and it doesn't matter at what age, but it really just. It's a security thing, you know? It's like you want to be in these rooms.
You know they got your back.
And you know they got your back.
And they built my damn brand with me, so why would we stop now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about Blackish, because that's when I was first introduced to you, and I'm sure a lot of the world, because that show was huge and, always going to be huge in our culture. What was that experience like for you growing up on television? I mean, how old was you when you started, and how old was you when you ended it?
Ooh, so I was 9 when we started.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was 17 when we ended.
Dang, girl, that's so special.
Yeah.
We have Tracy Ellis Ross, Anthony Anderson, Lawrence Fishburne, Diane Cole, Jennifer. I mean, working and growing up with icons. In both drama and comedy.
Yeah.
What was it? I mean, you probably didn't know initially, but then maybe by the time you were 17, it hit you?
Honestly, it didn't really hit me until the show ended, if we're going to be very real. You know, I think because I saw these people as like my family, you know?
For sure.
And of course, I knew Tracy from Girlfriends, and like Jennifer Lewis playing Mama Odie. Like,
did you see Kangaroo Jack?
Yes, I did.
I used to love that as a kid.
I did, and it's actually hilarious because I saw it when we were still in the auditioning process for Blackish. Because I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what that was.
I mean, seriously,
I was like, I don't know what that is. But I watched it, and of course I knew Anthony. So yeah, I think it was just like such a cool family dynamic, and it was one of those things that like. You don't really know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
And I think it was like, oh, it was so special. Fun. It was very, very special. And it like a lot of people called it like a unicorn set because of how loving everybody was, like from the cast, the crew, the writers. Like it was so much passion behind the project.
I think those are really special because even if you do a show where it's like, it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other. A lot of times it's just in the middle. We come to work, we're professional, we leave.
Exactly.
It's not always that you feel like, you're my family for real.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it does do something different to you. You know?
Absolutely.
It feels like you're at home.
Yeah.
So the show ends, but you continue to know what you're going to do right after that. I mean, your production company had already been started, or did you start it at the ending of the show?
No, I actually started it after Little, which I believe was like season 4 or 5 of Blackish, if I'm not mistaken.
And you were how old?
I think I was 13 when we started filming Little, but I pitched Little at like 10. So, and we know how long like films take to put together. Yeah. So
and this was on set to Kenya, Paris.
Yes. I think the finale of season 1. That's when the Little journey really started for the film. Yeah.
And what was that experience like? Obviously, in the beginning, you said, you mentioned it, you pitched it at 10, and then the process going. By the time that you were 13 and you actually were on set filming it, how were you taking on that role? Because this is the first time of you being a producer, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
How was it for you, and how was it with your parents in supporting you in that position?
Well, I was just learning,
Yeah.
I was doing what I was just there to do,
Yeah.
which was not only act and be alongside,
give your opinion.
yeah, and give my opinion, and then also learning what that opinion means to
Yeah.
people. And I think for that film in particular, it was really just a learning curve of just me trying to find my voice and seeing just how it works in a sense. It's like, okay, so if I say this, then does this happen? Or like, am I gonna say this and nothing's gonna happen? Like,
what is my power?
Yeah,
That's
what is my power? Exactly. So I think for that in particular, it was one of those things that I was just happy to be there. I was just happy to have a film that we created from the ground up and see it come to fruition. While also learning what a producer means. Yeah. So, I think it was layers of things, but I didn't really know what a producer meant until like going into like my mid-teens, of just trying to understand like, more of my power and more of what my identity is as a producer. And if I liked being behind the scenes more than in front of them.
And I do think there's something so interesting about the whole producer thing, because every producer is different.
Yeah.
Like, you are already being a producer even without you thinking of just having a vision for something. And that could just all be that it is. This is the vision. This is what the storyline is. That's how I'm producing. But then producing could also be, I'm throwing you the money. Y'all do it, come call me afterwards.
Yes.
Or producing could be, look, I know this guy named John, he writes really well, and I know this other guy, he directs really well. Y'all two need to meet. Like, that producing thing is so many different layers and levels, and it does happen over the course of time of seeing, okay, how people produce. And it's been the same for me, growing and seeing how much I like being behind the scenes as much as I do in front of the camera. It's a relationship that I continue to have questions about, become curious about, because it's all forms of storytelling.
Absolutely. And it's funny because like you, at a certain point, you've worked with every type of different producer. Like, there's people that I've worked with that have a producer credit that I'm like, oh, bet. Like, okay, we gonna work on this. We gonna do this together. Crickets. I don't see them from beginning to end.
Literally.
Like, and I only see them on the carpet. I'm like, listen, where were you? Where were you when we needed you?
Literally. Meanwhile, I was like, they was cutting that one check, and it was like,
yes,
oh, boom,
and that was it. And then I'm like, oh, I see. So you can do that too. Okay. Yes. I think for me, I've always loved to just be behind the scenes and like work and just find the people to take over those certain jobs that I think would be amazing at it.
What sign are you?
I'm a Leo. I'm a triple
delegator.
Leo.
Period.
Yeah.
I'm about to delegate and put y'all together, and y'all. I know y'all gonna work, and we gonna get this popping. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always what I love. So I love being like in the thick of it. Like, that's me. Like, I want to be in the casting process.
Said triple Leo?
Like, I'm a triple Leo.
Period. When's your birthday? August
14th.
Okay, my best friend's August 9th.
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
August 26th. So I have some of the Leo vibe, but I'm Virgo all day.
So that's
why would I do this?
Nah, that's my sister. She's 8 and she's like, Lord have mercy.
Hilarious.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Okay, y'all, I'm here to spill the tea on how to level up your 2025 travel game. Listen, as we step into the fresh new year, it's time to shake things up and try something different. You know what they say, new year, new adventures. And let me tell you, some trips are better in an Airbnb. As you guys know, I was recently tucked away in a fabulous lakeside cabin only a couple of hours away from the glitz and glam of Los Angeles. It had the works. We're talking game room, panoramic views of the mountains, a fully stocked kitchen that Tabitha Brown would be proud of, okay? And my fave, a jacuzzi on the balcony. Yes, yes. Now, you best believe me and the fam had the epitome of cozy, posted up, sipping on hot chocolate by the fire without a care in the world. And because we found this stunning house on Airbnb, we were super close to Big Bear proper and got all the tea from our host about the best spots in town. Child, we was hitting the slopes, popping downtown for shopping in the village or for dinner at Sweet Basil Bistro. Yes, get into it. We were right in the thick of things, and our host knew what they were talking about. Now, if you're feeling inspired and decided to hop on over to Airbnb to book yourself a little something, let me put you onto the truth. Guest favorites. Okay, these are the cream of the crop stays that other travelers are raving about. We're talking places with charm, character, and that special je ne sais quoi that'll make your 2025 unforgettable. That's how I found this gem. So go ahead, book that stay, and make 2025 your year of exploration. Trust me, you won't regret it. You have a clear vision of who you want to be and the stories you want to tell. I mean, from Blackish to Little. Let's talk about your no black pain rule and how you came to it. If there was a moment you remember, or if it was something you discussed with your parents. Because I know for me, I don't know if it's the same for you, but my parents, we often talked about my brand, how I wanted to exist, how I wanted to use my platform, what my art's meaning was, what was the intention behind it. And as a kid, I didn't always know. But as I continued to grow older and older and older, I understood the task of being responsible and being a representative.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that may have or may have not played into you saying, no black pain for me.
Well, really how it started was we had our office and people would just come in with these slave movies. Like, that's really it. Like, that's really how it started, honestly. I'm very like if to be completely real, like it was the lack of original and creative ideas that were coming through the table for a black company to produce. So I think that was really the start of me being like, no, I don't want to see this anymore. I want to see fun, exciting projects, things that are unique, things that feel different, things that are fresh and is for today and for the now. And that was just me. You know, it's not like I don't want that across the board. If it's something that it speaks to me, then of course. But
because another thing I'm hearing you say also is like a new perspective.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to talk about pain and trauma or troubles, like can we have some whimsical elements?
Yeah.
You know, can we put a
Absolutely.
Alice in Wonderland spin on it? And I think that's so true. It's like a lot of times, whether it's a trauma story or even a rom-com or anything, a lot of people just hit on the cliches. Yeah. There aren't a lot of new eyes that are looking at things from a different vantage point. So it does end up making us be like a little hesitant for the black pain because we already oppressed. Like, we don't need another storyline where it's like, ouch, coming out the theater. Yeah. And so I feel that where it's like, how can we encourage different and unique voices to speak on things with fresh eyes, with not from the eyes of the oppressor, but from the eyes of the survivor.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
Because I've had that same thing, of just trying to figure out how to not totally jump over the important stories, but to come from a place that make people feel uplifted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you in this time in your career, how do you go into these rooms and talk about what you want to do? Or how do you feel about even auditioning at this stage? I already know.
Let's talk about it. Yes. All right. So two things, right?
Know.
I mean, I think auditioning, I got to a certain age that I just did not like to audition anymore. I just don't. Like, and I have a panic attack over it.
It feels like you're jumping up and down saying, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Exactly.
Hey. It's like, I was literally your age. Yeah. About from the ages of 18 to 23. It was literally the most dehumanizing experience and I could ever have.
And only people that have been in those positions know like the feeling.
Oh my gosh, no.
Lord. And I mean, I think I had to get over it at a certain point too, right? But because obviously that's our business, but it can feel very dehumanizing at times, And I haven't auditioned in a long time, if we're gonna be real. I think I only auditioned for things that obviously, because I think Marvel.
Yeah, like, we gotta audition for that.
Like, we gotta audition for that.
Can't miss that out. Even if it's the casting, hey y'all, call me for the next one.
Yeah,
legitimately.
No, for sure. Like,
there's so much politics to it though, in that regard.
Exactly, and I think it's also one of those things of like they give you the character, and it's your perception of the character, and you only really have one try.
Yes.
So, and if it's not their version of what the character's supposed to be, then it's like. You're done. You're done. Yeah. But I always like to make sure in my projects that we are casting along. Like I'm in the room for those things because I know how like overwhelming those rooms can feel.
Yes.
So, I try to either talk to, if they are my age or younger, like I try to talk to them beforehand or just make sure it's like a comfortable space for them to, get those nerves out. Because most of the time, they know the role. It's just the nervousness is always like,
Yes.
It's a lot. So I think that, yeah, auditioning it just was never like.
No, and I feel like when we were kids, it felt a little bit different. I mean, I would still get sad if I didn't get a part, but as a kid, I felt way different. Yeah. And then as I got older, because I think what happens is, for me, it was like I was too old for the younger parts, and then I was too young for the older parts. So it was like I was coming in and I was just shuffled into the one of the bunch, and it was hard to kind of reintroduce myself, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people in our generation, whether it's the, youngest millennial and the oldest to youngest Gen Zer, we really are starting to depend on digital more to tell stories. Yeah. And I've seen it with you as well, where you're reestablishing your brand in the digital space. Yeah. Whether it's we see these amazing photos, and we just see you evolving in your own pace with us in a way that we can't do traditionally. Exactly. Because we can't tell someone to do this and put me in this thing. And, it doesn't go like that. We have to either produce it ourselves, which we also do, or we have to do it on a smaller scale through digital where we're telling our stories. So how has that empowered you during some of this experience of just that re-evolution of who Marsai Martin is as a grown woman?
Oh, I mean, I think it's fun, and it's very... It's very nitpicky, so like you're not trying to think strategically on. I know for me, like adulthood, the transition to adulthood is very, very hard. Yeah, very hard. It is for any child actor going into adult. Like it's hard because then everybody's always still gonna see you as that little girl, no matter how old you are. You can be 30 years old and they be like,
we still call Rudy
Rudy. She was 12. Yeah. Like, please, So I think that transition it's now funner, I think. I think it had more pressure on me in the beginning because I was like, I'm not trying to show my ass and titties out here. But what else do y'all need? Like, no, like, it does end up seeming that way. That's not the only thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I feel like as soon as people go that way, they think like they're growing up too fast or whatever. But I think it's also the people you work with as well. So like my stylist, Brian Javar, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love what y'all do.
I love him so much. Yeah. And he's such a creative. And I think working with people like him, that's just like more fashion forward and also to just like understands the transition. It's like we just doing what we want to do. We can't care what the audience feels about it.
And I'm trying to express myself in a new way. Yes. Like I don't know I've only been whatever ages. I'm now this new age. I'm now in this new era of myself. And I need to figure out what it is for me and explore. And so, when you do have a good team around you, whether it's your family or also a stylist or someone that can help you explore creatively, it is so fulfilling because you just, girls just want to have fun.
Exactly. And, yes, and I think just people are just seeing that in real time. I think that's it. Like people are seeing these carpet looks or the events and all of those things, and they're just seeing the transition.
Everything is in the forefront. You are a star. How do you balance? Are you kind of more like, which I think I'm more like, look, y'all name is Bennett. Y'all ain't in it. Yeah. That's more so my approach. But then also, I mean, some people are open with it. How do you feel with you?
I just be living life, man. That's just it. Like I just be living out here. I feel like a lot of people don't know like how I move, and I would like to keep it that way. Yes. And I think like, I'm never the person that's gonna like hide everything, like you if you ask, yes, I'm gonna tell you. But at the same time, I'm just doing me.
Yeah, it's not your career,
and it's not my career. I'm always the person that's like, it's sacred, but it's not hidden. It's that's like right. So I'm always in that route. But yeah, no, I'm just
being young and fine.
I'm just,
what do they call it? 20 fine?
I'm just out
but I
here,
guess that's
man.
If you're 25, you're only 20. So 20 and fine.
20 and fine. That's all I got to say
well,
about
I love that. It's good that, you're out there having fun. I ain't going to dig too much because I don't like to be in people's business. So let's talk about Saturdays.
Yeah.
Tell me about how we got to this show. What is it about? You're not acting in it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah, so let's get into that.
Saturdays was a Disney Channel show with our 3 girls.
Yes.
That were like in this cool skating community based on the South Side of Chicago.
My city.
Yeah. So, it was super dope. We filmed it 2022, I believe. And no, it was exciting. It was lots of fun, and it was original and different. And we worked with just some amazing actors that were just ready, that were just excited,
And these were the girls you were talking about where you were supporting them in the room when they were auditioning and everything like that. Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely, through and through. And I think there is always something about just putting our Black girls in the forefront. And that's exactly what we did with Saturdays. And it was so fun. It was so dope while it lasted. But yeah, I think there is something about things getting put, I think, onto the wayside due to, I think, just the studios. I think there's something about just the way it's presented too. I think marketing is everything.
Yeah. I talk about this a lot when it comes to our shows. Obviously, we're in a position where with streaming where it's just all about the more.
Yeah.
And things are easily able to be unseen when you're just piling everything all in the same bucket. Nobody knows where anything is, and that's the marketing piece you're speaking to. But then on the other end, when it comes to our shows that represent our culture, if there are not a lot of people in the positions to understand that in these buildings, it's beyond it being personal. It's you don't get it.
Right.
You don't know the value. And if you don't know the value of something, then you aren't able to treat it of value.
Exactly.
And so I don't know all the ins and outs of Saturdays, but if this is a show about girls from the South Side of Chicago and there may be not that many people in the appropriate positions that can understand that point of view at the studio, then it can end up being something that people don't think is of value or don't feel like it's something that is needed.
Yeah, but it's funny because they'll hype it up too. Like, oh, yo, this is my favorite show. Like, oh, this is what's gonna be out here. Like, that's gonna be the thing. But then when it comes to promoting it, putting it into the things, and then at the end being like, well, it didn't do this, that, and the third. No,
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Okay, so I know y'all caught last night's premiere of The Bachelor, right? Didn't I tell you there'd be a quiz? Look, it's fine, because if you didn't, I'll let you hop on over to Hulu to get caught up. Now that that's out of the way, didn't I tell y'all that man was fine and genuine and kind-hearted and really sweet? And did I mention fine? This is the sort of television that I live for. The romance, the drama, watching all these beautiful people gallivant and covert all over the mansion. My heart's fluttering just thinking about it. Will Grant choose Savannah, the blonde bombshell from Virginia, or Kelsey, the gorgeous goddess from Brooklyn, or any of the other beautiful and intelligent women vying for his love? Y'all know I have no horse in this race, but I am locked in. Listen, if there was ever a time for a wine-fueled watch party with the besties, it's Mondays at 8/7 Central, darling. New episodes of The Bachelor air every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC. And as always, you can choose to stream it on Hulu too. Now, where's my rose? So you did this show Saturdays. It's about 3 Black girls in Chicago. And it was on the Disney Plus platform for one season, but then they took it off. They didn't give it another season, and then they took it off.
Yes.
What's the reasons for that?
So, girl, only God knows. I think honestly, I think it's because they never know how to really promote Black television or films on the platform. I think that when it's supposed to be, for them, marketed a certain way as of, I think for me not being on the show, and they're thinking that it needs to be like put on my back to support it through and through without the means of, like, in this case, Disney support.
Yes, which is huge.
Yeah.
And wildly, important.
Yeah, exactly. I think it just kind of got overshadowed with a bunch of other projects in the line. So,
So I think people might say, okay, well, shows, they get off and that happens and, you have to move on. But I think there's something critical about what you're saying about the impact it has, not only on the girls that were in the show, but the Black girl that's trying her best to use her platform to produce and showcase other young women.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that feel for you, and how are you combating that in a in an industry that we have to keep on pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps
Yeah.
and focusing on the prize.
You know, I think for me, it's like I know what industry that we're in to just keep pushing and we keep moving and we keep grinding. And, you know, I think those are things that we kind of just are acclimated to do.
Yes.
So, you know, for me, it really wasn't like an issue, you know. So I'm like, okay, it is what it is. We know what happened, but okay, cool. But, you know, I think that for our Black girls, you know, our 3 main leads, that, you know, for this show to be like their breakthrough in a sense, for being seen. I can never talk about it without getting emotional, but
because we all know what it feels like to be let down and to be unseen in this industry. And it's not that we become jaded, but we understand that this business is an objective business that we have to be objective about in order to maintain. But when we see somebody else have that first experience, and it makes me feel that way about you right now.
Yeah.
You know, watching you have that first experience of trying to get things off the ground, you know, and going through a tough transition period. But I will tell you, it don't last.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep staying focused and everything will come to. I can promise you that as long as my name is Keke Palmer, and baby, this is Keke Palmer. But it is tough.
But yeah, it's a lot, you know. I think that a lot of people don't even see that part. Oh, a lot, but nobody sees that part. We're gonna be real. So, you know, I think obviously there's a bunch of things down the pipeline that I'm excited about. But you know, with this in particular, it's like it always makes you feel like you're going back to square one.
Of course,
no,
of course. And in many ways, you are, but because you're going so much further in the next direction. And I'm telling you because I've been there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't remember in that time period when I was 18 to 23, a lot of people I was being so criticized. So many things I was trying to do weren't getting off the ground. And I was trying to figure out how to make sure that I could make my transition and express the new person who I am. I'm doing comedy. This is what I am. Exactly. These are sketches. And I would feel so much like, man, like people aren't getting it, or you know, how do I communicate this, or why don't the studios understand? And then over time, over consistency and perseverance, it comes too.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's true. These feelings and these moments, we got to talk about them.
Yeah.
So the other people on their road of continued success, they know what to expect. It ain't this.
Absolutely. It's this. You know, it's that
it is.
For sure. And it's like you can have all of these different sources of income or different things. Like you can have all of that.
Definitely
right?
that.
But if there's this one like passion project that you really want to go, it's like, well, damn.
Yeah,
you know?
it's very much so. Well, damn.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm filming in like next week.
Yes.
Or something else. But like for these girls, you know.
What's their names?
There's Peyton, Danielle, and Daria.
Peyton, Danielle, and Daria, we love y'all.
Yes.
Shout out to our girls.
We loved it.
I'm very proud of you for getting that off the ground because people don't know how hard it is.
Oh, for sure. The fact that it even got one
That's
season.
insane. Yeah.
Like, it's just great. You know, I was able to have my cousins a part of it. Like, it was, the wardrobe was everything. We actually filmed in Chicago. Like, it was so fun, you know? And I think shows like that need to be represented more.
Yep.
Not just from us that are the creators of it, but also the studios, the people that say they support it, you know?
That's right. That's right. But the fact that we have young producers like yourself, as well as entertainers, but also young producers, that's what makes the difference. Mm-hmm. So aside from the producing stuff, let's talk about what you have next that you're starring in.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many things that are happening. Too many things. So we have our cute, sweet little project called LA Fridge that we're filming, which is so much fun. I just did The Masked Singer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Marsai, did I know that you could sing?
I don't know. Did you?
Did you sing on Blackish though?
Ish. It was a comedy.
Girl, you was on The Masked Singer. I love that show.
Yeah. So I was the Woodpecker. I got unmasked.
Oh my god!
And that whole experience was insane.
Girl, it was so
like, you
cool.
Need,
I can only imagine.
Like you gotta be on it so good. Like you gotta be. Like, cause it's so much fun. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things happening. Of course,
Now, what's LA Fridge about?
LA Fridge is it's a beautiful father-daughter film that I've been waiting to just create a project about. I think those are one of my bucket list things to work on, is to be able to have a real and grounded story about a father and a daughter. And so this daughter, which is played by me, is from New York that is now moving to LA to stay with her father for the summer.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's just from that. It's just a whole experience. And it's so much fun.
Who's playing your dad?
Courtney B. Vance.
Oh my gosh, I love Courtney B. Vance.
Yes.
First of all, obviously
so
him
great.
and the amazing Angela Bassett are married. But when I was 17, he played the pastor in my church in a movie I did called Joyful Noise.
Oh, so sweet.
And when I was going through like a period where I was like, do I want to keep acting? Do I not want to keep acting? He was like, I'll write your recommendation letter to Harvard if you want to go to school. Like, he's a great person.
He's so sweet, and so is Angela Bassett. I saw Angela Bassett at a Tyler Creator concert, and that's why I knew I loved her, because I was like, girl, why are you here? like she's just out here with her friends. But yeah, I love them so much, and it's gonna be lots of fun being with him. And and yeah, I mean, aside from that, we're just always working. We're behind the scenes. I have a festival called Say Summer Cookout, which is a HBCU curated festival.
What?
And yeah, that's
and
been
where
my
cities,
main focus.
or do you go to multiple?
We go to multiple cities, so it's annually. But
y'all must be going to DC.
We went
last
time.
last
time.
And when you think about HBC,
yes, and then this next year, I don't know when this is coming out, but you know, I'll tell you on the side. We always got to do a surprise. But yeah, I mean, I'm just getting older, doing my thing. Real estate is my thing right now. We just buying stuff everywhere.
Girl, I live for the real estate.
I love
it. We're always talking about investing, because we might not want to do entertainment forever. We might want to take a little break.
I know me. I know I'm not gonna be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not into stocks like that. I don't like playing around and gambling with money that you don't have.
Exactly.
But the real estate, that sounds like a little safe.
Oh, absolutely. Like you know, you
little property safe.
I would just be out here in Georgia real quick, or let me go to Charlotte. You know, like that's me. That. So that's where I am with it, and I'm looking forward to just the many years to come of just what.
I was about to say, the funny thing about it is that you've already done so much, and you're only 20 years old. Mm-hmm. So, girl, in the next 20 years, it's about to be crazy.
It's about to go down.
Hey. Why that reminded me of Omarion with the.
No, don't play with me.
That was actually fabulous. People wanted to hate, but.
I loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I have to let you go because they was telling me to wrap up, but we were just really getting into some stuff.
I know.
I always play a game with my guests before they go. Okay. So if you're down, I'd like to play one with you. It's called This One Has Some Sweetness to It. So I'll ask you some rapid fire questions about your love.
I love that name, so I'm sorry. This one has a little sweetness to it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions about your love life.
Oh,
and then you tell me the answers. You ready? They're rapid
y'all
fire.
Have a good one. Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Worst date you've ever been on?
A worst date I've ever been on?
Somebody was talking too much. Somebody breath stank.
Someone was probably talking too much. Okay. Yeah. Just someone was talking too much. Someone was also just trying to be too like.
Oh, I hate the too cool vibe. I actually just prefer a cringy guy. I prefer like Steve Urkel energy.
Oh my gosh.
To be quite honest with you. Okay, would you meet someone on a dating app?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, is ghosting someone valid sometimes? Let's be honest, Leo.
No, it's valid. I don't talk to anybody for real.
You did.
I think ghosting is fine when you know who I am. Like, you know I love you. I'm going to see you when Thanksgiving. Like, I'm going to see you over here. Like, you know it's all love. Like, so I like ghosting.
But I've ghosted you, Bookie Boo. It's cool.
It's okay. You know, I be just, you know.
Does the guy's car matter?
No.
Period.
Listen, I don't drive, so you know I feel like I'll be complaining too much if I'm worried about somebody else's car when I don't even drive. So
that is hilarious. Come on, princess. Period.
Yeah,
drive me around. Okay, last one. Most unattractive quality in a person.
Oh man, I think their fakeness, like when they try to be somebody that they're not.
Yeah,
I think that's the most annoying thing for anyone. You know, like when, like, don't play me in my face.
Just be real, Bookie
Just be
boo.
real.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's it for like everybody. That's probably why I ain't got no friends really.
But honestly, the smallest circle is the best circle. So
it's
I
the
ain't
best.
mad.
It's my little tight knit circle. We just be out here like chilling at Fairfax or something. It's just
Come on,
the
Fairfax.
easiest
I love
thing
the
in the
location
world.
drop.
Yeah, the little location drop. Just a little John and Benny's type thing.
Oh my gosh,
know?
that food.
So good.
Woo!
So good. But
Too good, girl. I
Yeah.
live for the pastas.
yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, Marsai, you're absolutely amazing.
Thank
I love you as an actress. I love you as a producer. And I love you as a homegirl because we was really getting into
I
it right now.
know. We're going to have to talk
We gonna
further.
have to talk.
Yes.
You're amazing. And so
Thank
is your
you.
mom.
Yes. She's the best.
And I love you.
I love you more. I love you more.
Marsai had so much to say. That's got a ring to it. I hope you got as much out of that conversation as I did. I mean, I guess my biggest takeaway would be that there's so much power in staying true to yourself. Marsai reminded us that while the struggles are real and valid, there's also a legacy of creativity, resilience, and joy that needs to be celebrated. By keeping it real and honoring the reasons you started doing what you do in the first place, you will always find your next thing. Even if that thing is buying properties in Georgia. Now that was T-Boo. So remember to seek out the joy. Lift it up, share it, and I'll be back next week because you know it's your girl.
Baby,